Alright, so far you looked at briefly at the organ systems, and you can look at another review for going over that. But right now I'm just going to look at the endocrine system. The endocrine system is the system that uses hormones. Hormones are chemicals that are sent around the body that tells your body to do something. So the two main systems that control your body are the nervous system and the endocrine system. But if you really want to narrow it down to one, it's really the nervous system, because the nervous system controls the endocrine system. It's the one that tells the hormones to be released. So for the most part, what you're going to see in this going through is the nervous system being the master controller and then telling certain hormones to be released. All right, so what our body tries to do is to remain at homeostasis. Homeostasis means to stay the same. All right, you want to have a good homeostatic heart rate. You want to have a good blood pressure. You want to have a good temperature. These are all the things that your doctor is going to check for you at when you go to the doctors if you're sick. And they'll know if you're sick if one of these things are out of whack. So if your heart rate's too high, or blood pressure's too low, or if your temperature's too high, they'll know that you're sick. There's something wrong with you because you're out of balance. So you need to stay at homeostasis in order to not only feel good, but also to survive. If your body gets too much out of balance, that's when you can get diseases and you can die. All right, so we stay at homeostasis using feedback from hormones. So I'm going to use an example of your house, and so you can draw that right in here to show you a good example of feedback, and then I'll go through one of the examples of Ben first. So homeostasis is about, let's say you keep your house at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, if the temperature gets too high, it goes up. All right, so temp increases. So sometimes in the summer, your temp will increase in your house. Well, the master controller of the temperature in your house is really you, but if you're not there to change it, it's going to be the thermostat. So the thermostat is the sensor that senses that temperature is getting too high. Alright, so the thermostat is the main sensor. So think of our body. What are the main sensors in your body? Your senses, which are part of your nervous system. Alright, so your thermostat is like your nervous system, your brain. It senses that and then tells the AC to turn on. Alright, so this would be like your body telling your another piece of your body to do something, and then the signals are, then since AC is turned on, the body cools. Or not the body, well, yeah, if we're talking about the body, but here the temperature cools, or the house cools and goes back down to normal. Alright, the same thing can happen in the winter if your temperature gets too low, so temp decreases. What happens is, again, the thermostat recognizes this, it's the sensor, and tells the heat to turn on. Alright, and then the homeostasis occurs because the house warms. Alright, if you're talking about just the summer, you could just say the AC is turned off here, down the bottom, and say the heat is turned on, and the house will get warm again just by the sun. But you get the basic idea. So what happens is there's an increase, and then there's a signal that tells it back to decrease. This is called feedback. Alright, so something telling it, so the body has, you have your sensor, or your senses, and your sensor tells your body to do the opposite. That's called feedback. So it's telling your body, it's giving your body feedback to go back to normal, or homeostasis. Alright, and these can be, the feedback can be in the form of nerve impulses or hormones. And hormones are just these nerves or hormones, which are just chemicals that tells your body to change. All right, so that's what feedback is. It's one of the big topics on the HSA. So now let's look at Ben's bad day. So Ben is a college student, and he's having a bad day. There's just tons of stuff that's going wrong with him. So we're going to first go to this website down here. And what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to homeostasis and click on it. And then you're going to go through and click on topic 1, Ben's bad day. Alright, it tells you what you're going to learn. And we're going to go through each part. So we're going to start at 8 a.m. here. So we're going to do basically the same thing for everyone. So at 8 a.m., his blood pressure homeostasis. So remember, blood pressure has to stay about normal. If your blood pressure gets out of whack, you're not good. So you click on the 8 a.m. and a bunch of this stuff. So it gives us a scenario. An angry student at the info lab annoyed Ben's loud snoring and kicks Ben's chair to wake him up. Ben jumped out of his chair and feels dizzy and faint. So Ben feels dizzy and faint because his blood pressure dropped suddenly when he jumped up and there's not enough blood going to his brain. Alright, so help Ben keep his from fainting by restoring his blood pressure. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on what is the first thing that's going to tell his blood pressure. So remember, what's our sensor? So is it the lungs? So if you click on that and it says no, try again. So it's only going to literally get you one answer, and eventually you should find it's the nervous system. Alright, so the nervous system is the main sensor. So if I go back here, what system and organ first recognized body? It's the nervous system. Which is the brain. Alright, what caused Ben to feel dizzy and faint when he jumped out of his chair? He had low blood pressure. Alright, and then what system and organ was stimulated and what did it do in order to make Ben feel well? So now we have to go back to this. So what we had to do is, we don't need to change any of these but blood pressure because obviously that's what's low. So we'll click there. So what's next? So what do you think the nervous system is going to trigger? So again, you can try different ones. The pancreas, no, it's going to trigger the heart. And if we need his blood pressure got too low, so we're going to increase the pumping of blood and raise blood pressure. Alright, so what system and organ? So the system is the circulatory or the cardiovascular, because that's what the heart is part of it. And specifically the heart increased blood pressure. Alright, now the last thing says to make a homeostasis feedback loop. Alright, so I need a little bit more space, just because my marker is so big. So I'm going to move this up and I'm going to erase this stuff. Alright, so it's basically on the website, but remember, we start with homeostasis. Now the website just draws it in a straight line, but I'd rather you draw it in a circle like we did at the beginning. So we have homeostasis, so what happened to him? Well, his blood pressure got too low, which actually I should draw this the other way. So, homeostasis, because his blood pressure got too low, so I should have the arrow going down. If something goes up, then you should draw the arrow going up. So blood pressure got too low. Then we have the nervous system was our sensor, and that triggered the heart, and that raised blood pressure. Alright, pretty easy. So you just go through what we just did, and you show what happened. Alright, so the first thing was nervous. So if you just go through those last questions, or again, it's pretty much right here, it's just not in a circle format. Nervous system stimulates the heart, makes it blood faster, and raises blood pressure. Alright, so you basically put this, but just in a circle factor. You have homeostasis, and then blood pressure decreases, and this stuff happens. Alright, so you're going to go through You're going to go through 8:30, and you're going to do the temperature one. So body temperature, that one's a pretty easy. You're going to go to you're going to skip 11:50, and you're going to go to 5 o'clock, and you're going to go to 8:30, and you're going to go to 12 a.m. So you're skipping 11:50. So 8:30. You don't have to do 11:50. You can skip that one, and then and actually you can skip 11:50, but then you're going to also do 5 and 12. So you're skipping 8:30 too. So you don't have to do 11:50 or 8:30. If you want to do them, you can, but you definitely need to do 5 and 12 because that deals with your blood glucose, and this is actually two different parts. One time his glucose goes too low, his sugar level gets too low, and this one his sugar level gets too high. All right, so you're going to actually do both sides, and then one of the questions down here is you're going to put the whole thing together. So draw a complete blood glucose fact. So basically you're going to combine this one from 12 a.m. with this one from 5 o'clock because one is when his glucose got too high and one is when it gets too low. So you just combine those two, and then your feedback loop should look almost exactly like this one where you go have a bottom arrow and a top arrow. For the rest of these, you only have half of the loop. All right.